Sovereign wealth funds are an integral tool that countries around the world use to gain power. And the U.S. does not have a sovereign wealth fund. We have an alternate system, and no one in this world has this system. I want to highlight this shadow banking system, this world global shadow banking system that countries use to control capital and control power. I'm going to do a deep dive in that, and then I'm going to tell you about the strategies that they're using, and then we're going to talk about how you can take advantage of these strategies. I'm really excited to talk about this because you already know the deal. This is for information and entertainment purposes only. This is not investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I am not your financial advisor. All investment incurs a risk, a loss of your money. You could lose it. Don't you ever forget that. This is just all my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. So with that being said, it's a really good show. You're going to learn some things. Enjoy. So on the last episode, I mentioned that I wanted to talk about sovereign wealth funds, and you guys said that you wanted to talk about it. I think it's a really great topic because sovereign wealth funds are an integral tool that countries around the world use to gain power. And the U.S. does not have a sovereign wealth fund. We do not have one. We have an alternate system, and no one in this world has this system. Now, the funny thing about this alternate system that we have is that it seems like it is intentionally being dismantled.
I can agree. We have that.
So yes, it's intentionally being dismantled, or it seems like it's intentionally being dismantled. And so I want to highlight this shadow banking system, this world global shadow banking system that countries use to control capital and control power. I'm going to do a deep dive in that. And then I'm going to tell you about the strategies that they're using. And then we're going to talk about how you can take advantage of these strategies. I'm really excited to talk about this because it plays into a lot of things that I've been telling y'all about. And a lot of y'all have not been listening. And so that's okay. I'm just going to give you like this really informative lecture that is going to stay with you forever because you'll understand how this world works. Okay. A lot of people don't understand how this world works. One of the things I think about when I think about how this world works and that people don't understand it is I think about this statement when the Epstein files was first released. I think about this statement that he said, I can't remember, I guess it was that Steve Bannon interview, some clip that came to light where he said, as a financier, he's like, what do you do? And he was like, countries and powerful individuals, I'm paraphrasing, come to me because they don't understand how the world economy works.
I saw that clip.
And quite frankly, I don't either. And I love it because I'm telling you, I've said this so many times that the Epstein thing was empowering to me because I feel like I understand more than them, and it allowed me to wipe away the rest of my imposter syndrome around the stuff that I know. Because you guys are that incompetent that you were willing to do sacrifice. Crazy. As opposed to just saying, hey, we're having a crisis. Let's buckle down for 2 weeks, pull a couple all-nighters, study, figure out a plan, and go. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this one right here, all you got to give me is time. I'll figure something out financially. Okay? All you got to give me just a little bit of time and a couple all-nighters.
Yeah.
All right. So I digress. Let's talk about these sovereign wealth funds. So first, let's talk about what is a sovereign wealth fund. There is no clear, distinct definition of a sovereign wealth fund, but it is a fund that a government controls, sets up and controls to help grow wealth. All right? Okay. So typically, when a government has excess capital, they're very liquid, they saved up money, they'll start a fund and say, hey, we need to deploy this capital to grow it. Okay. The very first sovereign wealth fund was Kuwait in 1953. They made a bunch of money off of a bunch of oil right after they gained their independence, and they knew that it wasn't going to last long. This is what they were thinking, that it wasn't going to last long. So we need to make sure that we take advantage of this run that we about to have, and it lasts. So this is what countries typically do. I want to talk about some of the top sovereign wealth funds in the world, how they get their money, and what they do. And then we're going to trickle all the way down to the U.S. and talk about why we don't do what they do, why we don't have a sovereign wealth fund, and what we do instead. Okay? It's just funny because somebody came up with a really great plan, and then it seems like somebody's trying to ruin this darn plan. But I digress. We'll get to that in a minute. All right. The largest sovereign wealth fund in the world is Norway. It's 1.2 to 1. No, I think it's 1.4 trillion.
Norway?
Yes. It's $1.4 trillion. Where they get their money from? They got their money from oil in the sea over there somewhere. And they've been getting all the way busy. The fund was established in like 1990, and it's just mainly to handle surplus. Now, before I go in, let me talk about the two things that they do with returns, like the reason why these countries set up sovereign wealth funds. So any normal person will be thinking, hey, they're doing it to make money, but that's not the only reason why they do it, to make money. They do it to, one, make money, so that they can either reinvest it back into the fund and just grow the fund, or they can deploy the capital internally in the country or deploy the capital externally, right? And so, yes, that's money. But guess what it really gives them access to? Power and control. They can control narratives. They can control, like, hey, I got $400 billion. Hey, I want to invest it in this country over here. And so now I have some control over you because you got my money. We got to make some promises.
Now, here goes a question, though, because same thing that we taught pre-production when I asked you about the definition of a fund. You have your fund that you run, and then you have a sovereign wealth fund. So my initial question is, what makes it sovereign? Is it just sovereign because it's controlled by the government? And your answer to that was?
The answer is yes.
Yes to that. Now, let's get into semantics real quick. What does sovereign mean? Sovereign means something that's self-sufficient, self-controlling, right? And so I guess part of the reason why we don't have a sovereign wealth fund, even though that was one of the first things that Donald Trump trying to set up when he got in office. We don't have our government is not sovereign. But that's just the definition of sovereignty. We could still have a sovereign wealth fund, but I'm just putting that out. That's what sovereign means. Something that is self-sufficient, self-controlling. It controls its inside and its outside. Think about God and the sovereignty of God. Right.
I am the be all end all. I make decisions internal and external. And everybody, y'all need to shut up. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. That's what sovereign is. A person who is very sovereign is someone who is self-disciplined and internally, and this is someone who also controls their environment. I didn't even think about this. That's a whole spiritual conversation.
Yeah.
Because I actually want to do a Bible study. Sorry, I'm going to go down this road just a minute. I want to do a Bible study because in the kingdom, right, as Jesus is being our King of Kings, one of the promises that we have is that we are kings and priests. Why is that important? Because remember, in Israel, in the 12 tribes of Israel, only the Levites could be priests.
Right.
But Judah was the kings. Okay? But us, under the blood, we are both kings and priests. Why is that important? This is the ability to be able to control your inside. That's priests. Because remember, priest is all about having discipline over the temple.
The body.
You get that? And what does a king do? A king has a control over reality, everything out here. So we, under the blood, we are both kings and priests. Thus, we are
sovereign.
There you go.
Hey now, take me to church.
There you go. I want to do a Bible study on this. Very soon. I'm going to figure it out. Find the time.
So the latter half to that question is, though, how was the fund funded, right? Because they're funded two separate ways. So with your fund, you go out and you raise capital per investor, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I can't start a fund with my own capital.
Okay. Well, you can.
So that is a strategy. So I'm raising money.
Right.
For those of you who are looking to invest in apartment buildings and assisted living facilities under the sovereignty of Nicole Purvy, the link will be down below. We're offering 20% IRR, 2.5x equity multiple, 5 to 7 year hold term, and We have a really great investing strategy. So go to the link down below so we can schedule a call and we can have a conversation about it. So yes, I have a fund. I raise capital.
You have GPs, LPs, all that good stuff. That doesn't exist in the sovereign wealth fund.
The money mainly comes from the country surplus. So for instance, a lot of Mideast countries, so we got Qatar, we got Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, they're in the top countries of sovereign wealth funds. And their money has come from oil. So they have a sovereign government, right? A king that controls everything internally and everything externally. And hey, there's oil. Hey, the government is deploying the capital to get the oil. Guess what? The return is coming back to the government. We got so much money. What do we do? What do we do? Okay? So that's how it works. The government made a bunch of money.
Okay.
And then they deployed the capital. So first one, Norway, they made money from oil as well. They're taking that money and then they're deploying the capital.
Got you.
Fun fact, Norway owns 1 to 1.5% of all global equities. Real quick, this is a great moment. This is why you need to be on our newsletter list. I break everything down. If you are a regular viewer of this show and on the newsletter, please let them know how much I break it all down in the newsletter. You need to get the full picture. Some of y'all understand things better when you read it and you see the outline. I know the show is entertaining and I'll be giving y'all game, but I really give a full game away in the newsletter. Go to the link down below, sign up for the newsletter. It is absolutely free. Sign up right now. Fun fact, Norway owns 1 to 1.5% of all global equities. I know. So back to what I was saying. Governments can use these sovereign wealth funds to grow their financial assets, to either deploy the money internally, externally, or reinvest the capital, or they can solely do it for power plays. Hey, just from a very simple way of thinking, hey, I'm investing in the infrastructure of your country. Now I got a stake in your country.
Right.
You owe me. I own this. So for instance, one of the Middle East sovereign wealth funds, they own a good portion of Heathrow Airport in London. That's a big strategy that they do, is they invest in infrastructure around the world. Now it's a good thing because it really does make us rely on each other. Like, we are not separate as human beings.
Yeah.
Contrary to what the world stage wants everyone to believe, but we all have to rely on each other. We need each other. So that does keep tension down, but it's good for governments to use that to have influence and control narratives. Okay, the next largest sovereign wealth fund is China. China's works a little bit differently because it is a system of funds, and it's a little bit of opacity there. So it's a system of institutions, I should say. They invest largely in private equity. They invest in public markets. They invest in a lot of different things. Again, it's a little bit of opacity there because China is China. I ain't mad at y'all. This is what they do. So for China, it's a little bit different because they have a mixture. So they're using their funds for a mixture of both, growing their capital as well as a power play. We know China is not above a power play. That's okay. It's their business. It's their money. Okay, Singapore is the next one. They are at about $1 trillion, founded in 1974, and they didn't get their money from oil or anything where a lot of these funds got their money from. Just straight up through just doing good business. Just doing good business. And they just continue to do good business, and they just invest in their money globally for both, probably more financial gain than anything. But they got $1 trillion out there.
Ready to deploy for the next investment.
It's already deployed.
Into where?
They're into tech, healthcare.
Well, I've been doing some research, and a lot of sovereign-owned investors are deploying heavily into what we talked about last week, into AI, artificial intelligence.
Tech. That was the first thing I said. So not all sovereign wealth funds have the same investment thesis, right? So different countries invest in different things, and we'll give that breakdown in a minute. But tech, that was the first thing I said.
Yeah, I was looking at like Abu Dhabi.
Well, I'm gonna get to them in a minute. I got a whole list.
Oh, okay.
Okay, next fund is Abu Dhabi. Fund is called Mubadala.
Mubadala.
At somewhere between $900 billion and $1 trillion. Obviously, they got their money from oil. It was funded in 1976. They're a big institutional allocator. The money is very diversified. Okay, the next one is Saudi Arabia. They're at 700 to 900 billion. They got their money from oil. It started in 1971. And so they're unique because some of their investment is like super high visibility. First of all, they are heavily invested in media. They are funding the takeover of Hollywood by Jared Kushner, which I'm not mad at it because you already know how I feel about media. Mm-hmm. If you're a country, think about how like in the 2000s, every bad guy in any international movie was Middle East or Russian. What does that do for the branding of your country?
I never thought about that.
I think about it all. I've been thinking about this since I was a kid. Every time I'm looking at a movie and it's like, you know, you watch the first movie that comes to my mind is Taken. They over there in Eastern Europe, everybody's, I'm coming to kill you. I can't even do the accent.
Yeah.
You already know the next line.
Yeah.
I have a very specific set of skills. He clearly doesn't know that movie, y'all.
It's the brainwashing. No, I'm thinking about what you said because I never really even paid attention to that before.
And so for me, if I was a country and I had a good amount of money, you know, remember, like I said, a lot of these investments, or sometimes the investment can be specifically for power and narrative control. You're not really looking to get a return. You might just want to keep your money in. Or you're in your mind, you might be thinking it's just a check. Let me just write a check. Yeah, okay, I'll fund this. I know this much. The movies better not have the bad guys that got turbans on. My face was too serious. I'm serious. That's how they always. I'm playing off of their racism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know this much. The bad guys better not be sitting in the pile of sand. Better not be on some camels.
Oh.
With a
rap on
Kemar. In Philly we call them Kemars, but what do you call them in everywhere else? The women with the.
Oh,
in Philly we call them Kemar.
I don't know. I forgot what they call it.
I'm sorry. Much respect. But I'm not mad. Yeah, we'll give you the money. Stop making these movies so that when our citizens go to other countries, people is clutching their bags. They scared to get on the plane because, you know, that was a big thing.
That was a big thing.
After 9/11, people will be like, see somebody from the Middle East and like get scared. No, I don't like that. Here, take this money. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
You want this money, you're going to make the white people be bad guys. White person. You make your own kind be bad guys in the movie. The other industry that they're very heavily invested in is gaming. I guess they figure this is the future. You Americans can't get up off your phones, or the rest of the world, you can't get up off your phone. Mm-hmm. We want to be embedded in that. Saudi Arabia, that's the country that invests in Heathrow. Heathrow was a major airport around the world. Heathrow, that's the airport in London. They own a good portion of Heathrow. Now, here's the thing. When the receiving country takes in these investments, because most countries, I know for a fact that the United States does, they have a department within the country that monitors external investments. Mm-hmm. Even if it is a sovereign wealth fund, the government has to approve it, because when these countries, these sovereign wealth funds, pour their money into third-party countries, it's giving them security access. So there are some risks associated with it. So these things have to be managed. Mm-hmm. Okay, the next sovereign wealth fund is Qatar's. It's about $500 billion, give or take a couple dollars. Obviously, they got the money from oil. They're one of the largest exporters of gas in the world. Their money is mainly deployed to manage strategic alliances around the world. They have a strong focus in Europe, which I'm not mad at. Their fund actually wasn't established until 2005. Fun fact, for a long time, I'm not sure if it's the case today, I probably need to do a little bit of research. They have the highest GDP in the world. That country is very, very wealthy. I've been there. It is gorgeous. I tell you, It's gorgeous.
Really?
It is gorgeous. It's like the streets is paved with marble, almost
wow.
like. It is gorgeous. Okay, so I talked about how all of these countries that invest internationally, the receiving country typically has a way of deciding what actually gets invested or not because of the security threats, right? The technology, the military, security threats just in general. Here in the US, we have something called CFI-US, the Committee of Foreign Investments in the United States. And it's comprised of a couple of different departments: the Treasury, Defense, Homeland Security, Commerce, Department of State, Energy, and the intelligence community. So how can I put this? Yes, they go, I have a colleague who's high up in that world, so I'm not going to share. I don't know what can, but trust me, they comb over every single solitary thing. Okay, so I'm sure, assuming other countries has this as well.
Yeah.
All right, so I just explained all these funds, and the whole reason for me explaining it is for you to understand that each country has a different system for growing their wealth, managing their wealth, but also managing political alliance, geopolitics just in general. Hey, I invest a bunch of money in you. This is a power play. I invest money in you to go over here, to go over here. This is a whole entire power play. And it's a great strategy for these smaller, very wealthy nations to gain power, right? And also gain a political seat at the table. U.S. does not have a sovereign wealth fund. So what I want you to think about is with these sovereign wealth funds, what the countries do is they save up cash and they use their liquidity as power. Guess what U.S. don't really have?
Describe that again, though. Like, break
They
that down.
save up cash. They get lucky, oil play, whatever. They have cash. They use their liquidity as power. Hey, Heathrow, you need to get rebuilt. There's but so many places. Because remember we were talking about these places that can absorb risk, that can hold money for long term.
Right.
One of them is sovereign wealth funds. So I just named off, 6 funds. That was maybe $6 trillion. That's a lot of money.
Right.
Right. The total U.S. GDP is like 26 trillion. Google that. What's the total, not the total U.S., the total world GDP?
Total world GDP was 117.2 trillion.
Okay. So according to chat, the total world GDP is 117 trillion. I just gave y'all, that was only 6 trillion. That was 6 trillion for 6 countries, something like that, maybe 5. That's a good portion to be able to move the economy. You can move 5% between a couple different countries.
Now it says also the total sovereign wealth fund assets are approximately 15 trillion.
Okay, but I just gave the top 6.
Yeah.
15 trillion. That's a lot of wealth versus the total
13% of the entire world.
13% of the entire world. That's crazy.
But the U.S. GDP alone by itself, right, is 30.6 trillion, which is 26% of the whole planet's output.
I know, that is crazy. We are some consuming, which, the crazy part about this is like, this is really scary when we think about all these systems in place that keep us consuming so much in the U.S. as consumers. I'm not talking about corporations, because corporations and government entities probably make up a good portion of that. But let's just specifically talk about individual consumers. So the whole world is betting on this system that we have in the U.S. of tricking humans, our own citizens, into endless consumption. I'm going to say that again, because your face is blank as if this is not. The whole world is betting, because we make up 26% of the world's GDP.
Right.
The whole world is betting on this country's system of tricking U.S. citizens, individual citizens, into consuming as much as possible. We only make up a real small percentage of the actual world population. It's only 300 million of us. What percentage of that 300 million divided by the amount of people on this planet, which is 8 billion? What is that percentage? Don't make me do this math in my head, bro.
I'm pulling it up right now. All right, let's break
It's
it
like
down
8%.
like this.
No, just go 300 million divided by 8 billion.
Say North America. North America alone is 600 million people. And
That's North
including-
America is Canada. I don't
Yeah,
want to
I
do
was
North
gonna
America.
say.
I want to do the U.S. Just say 300. Why he can't do it?
4% of the world's people. So 335 million people.
Divided by 8 billion. 4% make up 25% of the world's wealth.
4% of the world's people, 26% of the world's GDP.
And GDP doesn't necessarily mean wealth. It means this is the amount of money that's flowing through us. And so what I'm saying is the world is betting, like a lot of that money from sovereign wealth funds ends up going back invested in the U.S.
Yep, it says the next bullet point, number one destination for sovereign wealth funds
Is the U.S.
131.8 billion alone in 2025.
Okay, let me go back to my original statement. What do you make of that information? What you make of the information is the world is betting on the U.S.'s unique system to keep American people in a constant state of consumerism. Do I need to say this another way for you to jaw to be on the floor? Because your jaw needs to be on the floor.
No.
There is a direct aligned interest for the world's leaders to make sure that we keep eating food, putting skin creams, buying new clothes. Consumer, I want to buy, shopaholic. Guess who's betting on that?
The rest of the 96%.
Some princess in Saudi Arabia is betting on you eating bioengineered foods to where though you're not getting satiated, so you got to eat more.
Wow.
You're not. Is this not wowing you? Right?
No.
It's only wowing you because I'm making it wow you.
No. I'm just looking at the actual numbers, and that's just like, wow. Like,
This is a crazy whatever. I don't even want to go there.
335 million compared to 8.2 billion people in the planet, on the world, and then that's like, I don't know. To me, that's a setup for failure. That's just
It's not a setup for failure. It's a setup for like it should make you look at us as this is. Let me think like this. I want to break it to you like this. If you are a sovereign wealth fund, right, and you are some other country, let's make up a country, Chikanda, Chawania, okay,
right.
Where could that be? Who knows? Okay, you're Chawania. You got $1 trillion to deploy your capital. Your citizens are healthy. They're safe.
Right.
Everybody got a couple little outfits, got some shoes. The kids going outside. They playing. They having a good old time. Guess what? They got a machine over in America where they won't stop eating. Like they just keep eating. Like everybody's super chubby, and they won't stop eating, and they won't stop
Well, that's the
buying
American
clothes.
culture.
You're not getting what I'm saying. The rest of the world is betting on this working. Like, this is not blowing your mind?
Well, it's because the culture has been set up that way because of the greed of everybody here down to.
No, you're missing what I'm saying. In order for these people, hey, I'm a sovereign wealth fund. I invested in this country or in this business within this country, because that's what they do. They don't invest directly in the country. They invest in the business, the U.S. businesses. In order to keep my investors happy over in Chawania, I got to make sure that you keep buying more and more and more and more of my product.
Right.
So what Chawania is looking at is y'all have a system to hurt your people in the hopes of getting rich, and I need on that system. Y'all got a whole system of ruining your people. I need in. Because guess what? I ain't giving my people none of this. I ain't giving my people none of that. But y'all, wow, it's only 4% of y'all, and y'all spend 25% of the, here, take my money. Take my money. And then their citizen is like, we want that stuff. No, y'all don't want this stuff. Y'all don't want this. Go, 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 go. And meanwhile, America's like, okay. Okay, so real quick, we had a winner for the 1 month free of joining the Profit Door, our community.
Yes.
We got a winner.
Yes.
I can't wait to announcement. It's my girl, Zakia C-C. My girl, what's up, boo?
Woo.
So yeah, email me to claim your 1 month free membership into the Profit Door. Email me. Give all y'all my email. I guess y'all got it because I'll be sending y'all my newsletter. So Nicole at the Profit Door. Super excited for you, boo. See you on the inside.
Let's go, Zakia. But that goes back to what we talked about last week about, because if the system were operated where we were actually cared for, then it would be different. But we're not operating like that, which goes back to the greed of everybody as far as the greed.
Not just everybody.
No, from top down though, all the way down to the consumer.
We are chattel.
Even
we are chattel in the system. We don't care about you. We got to give our Chewanian investors a return.
Hence the mastermind right now.
Who the mastermind? Who you talking about? Your boy DT?
Come on now.
Go on in your rant about DT. I'm gonna give him the stage. Listen, y'all. I made him write his notes down so he can very clearly say it. Cause I be editing. I be sweating editing.
I'll make it one sentence, very brief.
I love this for you.
Everything that Donald Trump has done from the first term to now has been a calculated move to set himself up, whether he's in office continuously after this, whether that plan goes through or whether that plan doesn't go through, to be one of the most wealthiest, if not the wealthiest men in the world.
Okay. I don't disagree. So what's the part?
In essence, giving him the control still over the things and the tactics and whatever he wants. Like he can still have the control without being the president.
He's creating a new system.
Right.
Because, which we didn't get to, we don't have a sovereign wealth fund. We have a different system entirely that has really worked for us. We didn't need a sovereign wealth fund. So first thing he did was he came into office, he set up a sovereign wealth fund, but at the same time, this is why I go back to my original statement, it seems like the system that we had that's an alternative for sovereign wealth fund, it seems to be systematically being dismantled. And he's doing something that no one else has had the guts to ever do before. I'm not saying this is good or bad. You say what you want to say. We all know that it's not what I'm about to say is not good. But he has taken the presidency and monetized it. I think there was like an unspoken rule in the past. He's taken the presidency and monetized it.
And you spoke earlier about the system that we are in right now as far as the sovereign wealth fund. And our system only operates off the consumerism, but it also operates off of the belief in the system, what you told me earlier.
Yeah, belief in the system. So we're going to talk about the system in just a minute. Okay, before I even talk about the system, I do want to talk about a couple of funds that operate similar to a sovereign wealth funds. We have 3 of them in this country. The first one is the Development Finance Corporation. It's only worth about $60 billion, and it does finance infrastructure. It basically finances infrastructure. It is very fragmented. Right? It doesn't have the ability to do these big plays like the other sovereign wealth funds do. But we can get stuff done using this fund within the U.S. and it's specifically internal. Then the next one we have is something called CHIPS. This subsidizes semiconductor creation, right? So, and this is what I said, when there's things that are not financially viable, all of these things that need to get done from an infrastructure standpoint, housing, the government can set up situations, it can set up initiatives to subsidize it. So if semiconductors need subsidy, that means it alone is not financially viable. All right. This fund size is about $52 billion. All right. Small. And the last category is the Department of Energy loans. So they fund like clean energy, EVs, so on and so forth. This one is relatively large, 400 billion. Okay, so what's the difference between these three small funds, right? I think I gave you all a total of like maybe 500 million versus these other funds. One is not centralized, it's very fragmented, and it is initiative driven. It allows us to be a little bit more nimble, but nevertheless, I wanted to make that part a footnote because it does exist. We do have something similar, but it's not a sovereign wealth fund. And so now let's get on to this great American way. It is a 4-part system, the alternative sovereign wealth fund. The first part is debt issuance, okay, U.S. Treasuries. The second part is dollar dominance. The third part is capital markets absorption, Wall Street, private equity. We dominate both of those industries. Wall Street in terms of public, and then private equity, we got all the big guys here. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, we got all the big guys. And then the last part is strategic capital deployment, okay? This is initiative investment driving vehicles. Like I said, the government can put policies in place to fund initiatives. Our government is set up for this. So it's this really, what I want you to think about when you take all 4 of those and put them together is everybody else plays in the system. We create the system and we supply the currency that flows through the system. Okay? So we own the system. That's how this was so beautifully designed before. Now, keep in mind, when I say beautifully designed, please note that I am very sympathetic and aware to the suffering that has been created from this system. But if you're thinking like an allocator, and for just a moment, remove yourself, because sometimes you have to study the way people do things. I was going to say a word that's probably going to get me in trouble. Sometimes you have to study. I'll tell you off camera. You have to study the way other people do things and see where they're winning, so that you can apply this to your investing structure. Okay. Yeah. So again, I want you to think about, like I told you, how all these other countries is maneuvering control and doing this, doing that through their sovereign wealth funds. But the U.S. says y'all can do all that. That's fine. We own the entire system. And when y'all go to give each other money, y'all gonna do it in U.S. dollars, creating demand for U.S. dollars. Okay. So first, checkmate. So first, we have a debt issuance system. So liquidity is the play here, okay? Remember, these countries, they have a lot of cash. So liquidity works for them in that way. Instead of saying we're going to save up our cash, because we go ebbs and flows throughout history about having cash and not having cash. But as long as the world is relying on our debt issuance via treasuries, then we'll always have liquidity, because treasuries are the most liquid asset in the world. Okay. So I would say we did that, but it wasn't me. I'm just, for right now, pretend like I'm the U.S. We did that. That was intentional, because y'all always going to have a demand for it, and we can always issue debt and supply y'all with U.S. dollars.
So correct my mindset if I'm wrong about this, but as I hear you talk and I'm following what you say, I think about a casino, and I think about the term, when they say casino, they say the house always wins, right? I think about U.S. being the casino, right, being the house.
This is also what I mean by picks and shovels. They did a long-term picks and shovels play. Y'all always going to be fighting. Y'all always going to be trading. Y'all always going to be doing business. Y'all always going to be doing white hat stuff, black hat stuff, black market stuff, regular market stuff. Don't matter. Conduct business, but do it in U.S. dollars. I don't care.
Do it in my casino.
Do it in my casino with my chips.
With my chips.
Don't bring nobody else's chips in here.
With my chips.
With my chips.
Bar. It went over my head the first time, but then you.
With my chips.
America just took or United States just took a 10% stake in Intel.
Okay, explain to me how that relates to this very moment.
Because, well,
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm not going to forget. I know where I'm at with it.
the Intel equity stake, the U.S. government took 10% off Intel through an equity for grants deal in August 2025. White House advisor Kevin Hassett called it a down payment on sovereign wealth fund.
Yeah, he's trying. I don't really know what the hiccup is on why they're doing it, but
So essentially, from the research that I've done, the sovereign wealth fund that they were trying to create,
they are creating it. Nothing stopped it. It's just in the process.
well, they kind of broke it down into 3 different parts.
Okay, talk to me.
So they broke it down into the Intel stake, which is about 10%, and then they broke it down into a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and then they broke it down into something else called the DFC pivot, which is, I don't know too much about it, but it says that is the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation.
Yeah, I talked about them already.
Oh, okay.
You missed that part. Yeah, they have the finance corporation. They fund specific initiatives. So I guess the pivot is they're probably going to use that and grow that specifically. Is that what the pivot is? Because it already exists. It's only about 60 billion.
Well, they're separate. They're 3 separate from my understanding. So are you saying the pivot is for?
Well, you said one there. It said the DCF pivot. What is their pivot?
It says traditionally responsible for development, lending abroad, announced a shift towards a sovereign wealth fund model.
Yeah, so they're gonna use that as the fund. Okay. Yeah, I already talked about this fragmented way that we have, and that's the first component of it. And so I'm assuming that they're going to take that and use that as the fund. And so right now, they know that they're going to heavily invest in Intel. They're going to heavily invest in Bitcoin. That's what you're saying.
Intel because we use the word chips, and Intel is heavy right now into
semiconductors.
Right, into the chips, into the production of the chips. And so America is trying to search. Of course, they had NVIDIA, which was one of the largest chip makers too, but looks like Intel might be the next one.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, they're gonna try to do it, but we had a system where we didn't need to do it. So let me go back to what I was saying before about the system that we had was relying on these 4 things: debt, the U.S. dollar dominance, the fact that we have large capital market absorption, Wall Street, private equity, and the fact that we can allocate things. Our government is set in a way that we can allocate money based on initiatives. Okay? Hey, we want to do this. Let's do a bill that says we're going to allocate money for this to specifically hammer down and focus on this. Okay? Now, let's talk a little bit about my first thesis of this episode was that this system seems to be single-handedly, intentionally dismantled. So the first thing is the debt thing. Y'all know we are $46 trillion in debt. The former U.S. Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson is literally saying, hey, this thing is going to collapse. Y'all need to do something. Now, keep in mind, Henry Paulson, the former U.S. Treasury Secretary, he also, months before the Great Recession, said, we're fine. Mortgage-backed securities are fine. The economy's thriving. This is like right before. So I don't know what he's talking about. But sometimes when people make large mistakes like that, they're set up to like, oh, I know what I did wrong. This time. Or maybe he saw it happening and said that to try to control markets. And now he's got a conscience because he's super old now. Right? Who knows? So that doesn't mean remove him from the conversation. But we can no longer continue issuing debt. China just sold almost all their U.S. treasuries. A lot of people was letting go of their U.S. treasuries. The 10-year is a little higher than it was, which implies that the outlook for the next 10 years is a little more risky, a little more volatile than it has been in the past. Just a little bit. But our whole thing is based on debt. But DT, you knew this. Why you didn't handle all this with care? Okay, let's talk about the dollar dominance. This is number 2 in this alternate system where we created the system.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big argument, that the dollar is no longer as strong as it used to be.
Right. For years at this point.
No, but I'm talking about it's no longer as strong as it used to be in the past 6 months. We've been having this fight. When the Strait of Hormuz, guess what Iran's saying? Oh yeah, you can pass. Just wire this Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Remember, the world traded oil and petrodollars, a U.S. denominated system. Bitcoin. Yuan. We want China. No, we don't want no dollars.
Mm-hmm.
It's worthless. I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying the world is now seeing this system that y'all created got holes in it. Like, we've been like pledging our allegiance to this system. Mm-hmm. And y'all are showing us that the system ain't really systeming.
I think a lot of
we can still live and not do the U.S. dollar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but like this is what I'm saying about like branding. We talked about this before. The thing that we have convinced the world that this system is the way.
Yeah.
And so when we start doing all of these things to show them that it's not the way and they can still survive without operating in this system, what are we doing? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I think that's what attributes to a lot of the volatility that's going on right now globally, because they are looking at that view as America as not being as strong as they once were, or strong as they appeared to be. You know, you had the talks of BRICS a couple years ago, the formation of BRICS, and then, like you said, China just sold a bunch of its treasuries, and I think the world right now is searching for the new system.
I think that everybody has an idea for what they want the new system to be, and right now it's a play as to who and what the system is going to be.
Right.
So I don't think it's searching. I think everybody has an idea. We want this, we want this, we want this, we want this.
Well, I'm not even going to say searching. I would say trying to be in place first before the new system is introduced, if that makes sense.
I think most countries will already, I don't know, you can, sure, but it seems like, it's almost like I gave the analogy of the woman and the man dating. Mm-hmm. Imagine a beautiful woman, she's smart, she got it going on, and she got a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. He wants to marry her. He thinks she is the bee's knee. She's confident. She's just walking around and gloating on clouds. Mm-hmm. This woman's feet don't even touch the ground. And she's just like, yeah, baby, my feet don't touch the ground. Run me $1,000. Mm-hmm. He's like, baby, you perfect. She's like, I am perfect.
Yeah. Why she got an accent?
Because American women don't feel like this about themselves.
Oh my God. Cut that.
She's like, I am perfect. I am perfect, baby. Okay? Then, out of nowhere, she's like, I feel fat. My accent, I can't really speak English all that well. And I'm really dumb. And I'm a little clumsy. And you see this mole right here? And she just does a whole 2-month rant on every day, giving him 10 different things that's not perfect about her. Now he starts scratching his head like, I thought I needed you to live. Mm-hmm. I needed you. I needed all your, I needed you to live, baby. I need you. You're so great. Mm. But now you're making me feel like maybe you're not that perfect. Guess what? I don't need you to live. Because now I don't feel like calling you in the morning because you're depressing. Before I felt like I could not talk to you today. Mm-hmm. Now I don't feel like calling you. You're depressing. And then by day 5, I don't need you to live. I'm fine. It's a little difficult. I'm a little lonely at night. But
So you saying that's what's going on now?
That's what's going on right now.
So who's the women in this?
The
scenario?
U.S.
Okay.
And the world was homeboy.
Mm.
I'm not saying that it was perfect
Mm-hmm.
because capitalism. Oh, I'm glad I almost forgot about this statement. That I was like, let's talk about this on the podcast. Because capitalism, in my opinion, though this version that we do right now, this ain't pure capitalism. If we were to do pure capitalism, it is not as harmful as people think that it is. Mm-hmm. We don't have pure capitalism. That is why this is messed up. The same thing with democracy. We've never had pure democracy. Never. And it blows my mind that some of the wars that we waged in this country was in the name of democracy. We don't even got it. Mm. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We got a whole republic. And at this point, it's turning into an oligarchy. And some people are saying authoritative government. We don't have democracy. Now, democracy, nor authoritative government, nor oligarchy themselves alone are bad. Capitalism itself alone is not bad, but when y'all start doing all these hybrids and making exceptions, oh, this person can do insider trades, but you can't. This person can have a human trafficking ring, but you can't.
What?
Think about Jeffrey Epstein. And the rest of the people that didn't get prosecuted. The last episode I said persecuted 3 times. And I was like, well, why did I pick up on that?
I forgot where I saw it and who said it, but they did say, yeah, everybody's so concerned about this Jeffrey Epstein case and nobody's going to get prosecuted. They said that like...
You said that to me when I said that last week. You said, you did say nobody's getting prosecuted. Yes, I said it. I said it a long time ago. They put it out. Nobody's getting prosecuted. That was probably the deal in which we could put it out. Was like, everybody's just got unspoken immunity.
Mm.
Or, there's always exceptions. I gave some really, really morbid exceptions. But there's exceptions. Hey, we got democracy, but certain laws you don't get to vote on. You get to vote on these, but you don't get to vote on that. When you go to vote on the person, then they give you a whole bunch of dumb stuff that you don't even understand that you can vote on, but you don't get to vote on the important stuff. Vote Law 507 into, I don't even know what this is. Can children wear hats at preschool? Or no, they can't wear hats at preschool. What is this? What am I voting on? But the important stuff, I don't get to, that goes straight to the Senate floor. That's not a democracy.
Do you not think we already operate like a capitalist?
We have a hybrid. Some things are capitalist, some things are not. Some people can have a monopoly, some people cannot. Some people get access to this, some people cannot. We have a hybrid. And I'm not saying that even a hybrid is bad. But once y'all just letting everything run amok right now. I don't even want to get into it. But you're letting everything run amok right now.
What part of it makes a hybrid, though? Because I don't see any part democracy, honestly, when I look at...
I'm trying to be pro-American because, American equals democracy. If you start saying other things...
I mean, yeah, that's...
I'm trying to just maintain and make y'all think I'm not crazy.
Okay.
Too far crazy. I don't want to get flagged. Listen, birds keep flying by. You wasn't here. One of the birds came over here and I was talking to the bird like, I know you spying on me. And they sat there. And it was sitting there talking to me for forever.
I wasn't here for that. I wasn't here for that one.
Listen,
but I was here that day. Them birds kept flying into the window.
One sat here for a minute. And I was like, listen, I don't want no problems. I know you come to spy. I don't want no problems. I really don't. I just want to feed my babies. I don't want no problems.
Get out here, little CIA bird.
Right. You after the wrong person. The wrong one. Not me. Listen, I don't want no problems. I just want to feed my child. I got a little young genius on my hands. I don't want no problems. Let me do my little fun. Go on about your business. Okay. So I don't know. You always say that DT is like, he's got a lot of things figured out. He's got a huge system. I don't know. I don't know. I do know that it seems like this system that we have is being systematically dismantled. And a new system, this could be a new order conversation, or I don't know, but we had something good for a while. And sometimes I'll be thinking to myself, like, when we started this system this way 50, 60 years ago, did the governments around the world say, yes, we'll let you run, US, you'll have 60 years, it's your turn. And then after that, we'll fake a war. And then I don't know. But what I do know is we had a system for controlling the system and injecting the cash flow and injecting the dollars in the currency in which the system operated in. And it looks like a lot of people are trying to dismantle it from the inside or from the outside, and things are going to change. So I've already given you steps on how to move in that. But the next thing I want you to take away from, some of y'all are watching this and you're like, oh, it's so messed up. It's so Nicole's right or Nicole's wrong or Nicole's right. That is not the name of the game. Listen, the name of the game is to use this to understand how power and influence works. There are rules to how this earthly realm works. Most of y'all who are here, y'all have a degree of internal happiness that you can achieve. So you're not going to be trying to run the world. It don't benefit me to control every human being on this earth. You got to be a certain type of person and lack a degree of internal happiness to be like, I need to control and know what everything that you guys are doing. But what you can do is control your environment for the better. You can take these rules and figure out how you can control your environment, your family, your community for the better, while also making good money doing it. So we're going to look at these rules and we're going to talk about how you can do it. The first way is you need to learn how to deploy capital at scale. Some of y'all in the comments was like, oh, like especially in the last episode, I feel like some of these solutions is above my head. I'm just trying to get to payday, and I respect that, like 100%. But while you're getting to payday, you need to be having another train of thought, right? So focus on payday, but you need to be having another train of thought where you're thinking bigger. You have to be thinking bigger. And guess what? Thinking bigger doesn't require your money. And this thinking bigger might be a 20-year plan. It might be a 10 years plan. I don't care. Come up with the big plan, how you can deploy capital at scale. Because that's what these countries are doing. Do you have to do it at the size of a country? No, you can do it literally in your neighborhood. But you need to have a plan. What is that big plan? It could be a pie in the sky. You ain't got to tell nobody but me. Because I'm probably, some of y'all one of the only people that you could tell a big giant goal to. And I'll be like, okay, let's do it. Because some of your friends is going to be like, you didn't never do that. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Don't tell them. Tell me in the comments, what's the big plan that's so big that it makes you uncomfortable, that you can deploy capital at scale? Tell me in the comments. Is that a good comment?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Tell me.
See
Don't
what
tell
you did
them.
there now.
Listen.
Because I had a question, but that question was fire. And it came, I can tell you, just came up with it. It's fire. It's fire though.
I did. Because let me tell you something right now. If anybody talks trash about somebody else's big goals in my comments, y'all know I be laying people out in comments. I be having time. One of my really good friends be yelling at me about like, stop doing that. Stop doing that.
And what was
like,
the question?
This is what I do.
Give me the question one more time, because I think I got a caveat to that too, like a piggyback.
No, I want you to share your big goal. But what is your big goal? It could be your 1-year goal, 3-month goal, 10-year goal, 20-year goal that you can deploy capital at scale. I need you to get outside yourself and get outside of whatever this little teeny goals that you be having. I'm trying to save up money to get a BBL. I'm trying to save up money to take this chick on a trip, Turks and Caicos. That y'all not really them type of people, so I'm joking. But like, that's cool. Keep your eye on the little stuff. but I need you to keep your eye on the big stuff. Because what'll end up happening is you keep your eye here, keep your eye here, keep your eye here, and then you go here, 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 here. This will fade away. So I'm not telling you to get rid of this. That'll take care of itself. One day you're going to look like, I don't even really want a BBL. Whatever the little dumb thing is you're saving your money for.
I want to jump on that and say also, what problem is that goal going to fix?
Oh, what's the big goal? What problem is the big goal going to fix?
Because when the country, right, is the investor, when they create the sovereign wealth fund, the question isn't what is the IRR. The question is what is the problem is the country trying to solve?
And what's solving is how can we align the problems? Yeah, y'all need a new airport, but guess what? We need to make sure that all of our airlines, we don't have no issues. Never. No matter what nonsense is going on in our country. Don't be like, oh, there's, wars and just using this as an example. Abu Dhabi, so we're not going to let your airline. No, I own it. We out. No, this is mine.
Is this thing going?
Is this thing on? We do care. This is mine. Hello? Sorry if y'all haven't seen the last episode. That won't be funny. Go back and watch the last one. That was by far my favorite episode, and we didn't get that many views. That was crazy to me.
We were laughing a lot.
We were laughing a lot. I was giggling the whole time editing that.
You was laughing at me over there.
Thank you, Brandon, for just being you. I really do appreciate you for just allowing me to laugh like that. One day you're going to laugh at me and I'm just going to be sitting here looking stupid and just allow it to go down. You got to find something to laugh at me about. So we can make it even. All right.
I was about to go somewhere with that.
I might be able to remind you. Because number 2 reason is, the number 2 thing that you can take away from this is stop thinking about a money play, think about a power play. Because that's what your boy did. The job for the presidency pays like, I don't know, $400,000 a year. Mm-hmm. It's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
This is not a lot of money at all. He's thinking power. Mm-hmm. So stop thinking just about money. Start thinking about power. You can have power too. For I did not give you the spirit of timidity. I gave you the spirit of power, love, self-discipline. That's a scripture in case you didn't know. God gave you the power, gave you the spirit of power, which means the word is dynamos, explosiveness. Okay? All right. This is the next thing I want you to be thinking about. For those of you who are complaining about AI, for those of you who are complaining about the way this world is, y'all complained, we all made fun of what happened in the White House over the weekend. Mm-hmm. We all dissected it. The dude, they was having a shootout. Homeboy was eating. That was hilarious. Mm-hmm. But guess what? Stop complaining. You can allocate money to shape an industry. You can shape an industry. I've done it multiple times. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like popping off right now, but I've done it. You can shape an industry. What do you want to see? Stop complaining and be the change that you want to see. Mm-hmm. Guess what? All this stuff is happening. It's all about you. It's all about you. Everything you're observing, it's you. It's you.
And I'll jump on top of that and say picks and shovels, how you always be screaming.
Picks and shovels.
Because one thing right now is water is becoming the new oil. And AI
scares me.
A major problem.
Yeah, because it needs a lot of water.
And it's a water problem. And that's a problem unsolved. Who is the first to solve that problem? I would say is a pick or a shovel or one of the two.
But I love that. But I also want to put a comma. You don't have to think that big. I think about some of you live in communities and there's a lot of stuff that you don't like. There is ways that you can be the change to maneuver those things to help the community, but also take care of yourself financially. Mm. I'll give you an example. One of my very first clients, when I had my digital marketing agency, they did a charity mission down in Jamaica. And oh my God, I had so much fun. It was in the countryside in this little town called Treasure Beach. And it's a very poor town, but the crime rate was crazy low because everything you needed was outside. Well, you hungry? Pick some fruit from the tree. Beautiful. I did not want to leave. I cried. I fell completely in love with Jamaica. The guy that we were in partnership, the company that was my client, that they were in partnership with, he was third generation person to live in Jamaica. So he was Jamaican, but he did not look Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
He owned almost the whole town.
Mm.
He owned the local hotel. He owned the camp that the kids went to. He owned the grocery store. He owned a lot of the town. I'm not saying buy up your towns. If y'all want to buy up your towns, that's fine. I just watched a clip on Dave Chappelle. He bought up that little town in Ohio.
I saw that.
I love that, friend. That's so dope.
But now you're making me think of like how I grew up and how I came up in the neighborhood candy lady. But then it's just like you got the candy lady, but then you take that and you turn it somewhere. Then maybe you buy a gas station right up the street. And then yeah, I see where you're going. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But this is what I've been saying to y'all from day one. Remember I said I'm gonna bring it all the way back. Private equity, private markets, local businesses. This is how you can be the change in the world you want to see. Some of y'all are so focused on what they're doing out there, that's not even the real money. The real money is down on the ground. This is why I be so focused on my business. That's just my thing. I'm not saying don't do the markets. I love it. Stay here. We stay for a while. Brandon's going to teach me how to trade. I don't know when we're going to find time, but we'll figure it out. We're going to make some content where he's teaching me how to trade, like from scratch. Don't know when we're going to find time, but we will figure it out. Nevertheless, I'm not saying don't do it, but what I'm saying is the gold mine is right in front of you. How can you allocate? You don't even got to be running a business. How can you allocate the capital to give the community what it needs?
And I think you said on an episode earlier, like just how you just said, you don't even need to operate the business. You just got to find somebody who
does.
Your cousin, you
that
said
really knows it. Not just your cousin because it's your cousin.
Well, I'm just saying.
I know. I just want to make sure because people be giving their cousin a check, and cousin will go and
not just your cousin,
but somebody spend it on some hoochies. Your cousin will go and take the check and spend it on some hoochies.
You see how I looked at you?
And then you're like, what are you talking about? Welcome to Hoochie Burger. May I take your order?
Welcome to Hoochie Burger. May I take your order, please? I'm sorry, ma'am, but I can't hear you. You're gonna have to speak directly into the hoochie.
That's a bad idea.
Start the Hoochie Burger. A private acupuncture is doing a Hoochie Burger.
Start a Hoochie Burger.
You have to cut Martin a check.
You got Hooters. Well, you can't have a Hoochie Burger.
You can have a Hoochie Burger, but it came from Martin. I'm sure they got the trademark. We have to go buy the trademark.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. All right. Okay. Enter at moments of maximum leverage. What does that mean? There's opportunity for leverage. I keep telling y'all, start a fund lending to these businesses that you know really, really well because the capital's about to dry up for them. So you can demand just a little bit more in return, especially when you know that this business is going to do well. I keep giving this idea to y'all and nobody's in the comments like, that's a great idea. I don't know why y'all not doing it. If I wasn't here, listen, this what I'm doing right now is I know content and digital marketing really, really well. I've been in this game a while. If I could, I would run a fund investing in content creators. I would. It's relatively risky, but I know, first of all, I can spot when somebody got it. When they got the it factor, I can spot it. I understand funnels really, really well. Get somebody, put the right system behind them. I want my share. That's actually part 2 of this plan.
That's what record companies do.
That's what
Warner Brothers do.
Listen, I had this conversation with my partners when I told them this plan for this platform. The next plan is we're going to be like a record. We're not going to put people in 360s because I think that that's not ethical. But we're going to, that's the next step. Because guess what? They're already institutionalizing it. I keep telling y'all. All right. Okay, what you want to do is look where you can influence critical systems. What critical systems? Remember I was telling you, especially in the local government, you can influence this. Look where you can influence critical systems. Picks and shovels. The next thing, look to stabilize your own economy. I already said this. Stabilize your own economy. Stabilize your own economy, your local economy, or your niche market. Look how you can financially provide stability. And the last one of the big things about these sovereign wealth funds is they work in systems where there's a level of opacity. Okay? They got insider information. Remember, make friends with your politicians. Get on board seats. Get a seat at the table for people who are local power players. I cannot stress to y'all, like honestly, my ability to be able to see how some of this stuff is happening behind closed doors and see it in person and be able to apply it to this. Because I gave you a scenario about like DT and crypto. And I'm going to explain it in a minute. But Brandon basically was like, hey, this about Donald Trump. And I said, listen, I know how these things go. This started out as a conversation behind closed doors. This is how the conversation went. You start understanding that once you start putting yourself in these rooms, going to local chamber of commerce meetings, literally going to city council meetings, follow the breadcrumbs. A lot of times things are happening. We let everybody know it's public, but there's only 5 people here. Be one of the 5. Just go. That's where the money is. I promise you. Here's the story. Donald Trump. You said Donald Trump didn't want Bitcoin. Now he wants Bitcoin. And my argument was, it wasn't like he just said, oh, I got an idea. The powers that be, whoever they are, said, hey, this is the play. You got to run the play. And they know he don't do nothing without a deal. He got a whole book called The Art of the Deal. And so, hey, this is what we're doing with Bitcoin. This is what's happening. I already revealed my thoughts about this in the New World Order. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not telling y'all it's bad. Things have to be done in some type of order. Things change. It's cool. Hey, we need you on our program. But you're not changing his mind without giving him something that he wants. It's not happening. That's just how he operates. I ain't mad at it. Don't be mad at it.
And I think he wants a seat at the table.
He's already earned his seat at the table.
He wants an indefinite seat.
What he did was he starting another table and made the other table be obsolete. He said, that's fine. That's the thing that I be liking about him, because some of y'all be too scared to do this. Y'all got to think in mind, like, he's technically an average human being. So are you. Not in a bad way. Because you're thinking you're average and you're not allowing yourself to think big.
I think he's very average, and I think he's just very, you might disagree, I just think he's very clever in his techniques. Because I think sometimes when you're too intelligent, you overthink a lot. I can speak for myself and say I'm highly intelligent, and sometimes I might overthink.
The overthinking is a form of imposter syndrome, and this is what I'm saying to you. You're average, I'm average. He just doesn't have imposter syndrome. And he does not care what you think. That joker ran off the stage and hid behind the curtains and was like, what's going on? I don't care. And then got on the mic and said, this was so bad. I didn't want to say this, but I need a new ballroom. He literally said, I didn't want to say this. This is exactly why we need a new ballroom. I didn't want to say this though.
Dang.
And I want you to have that. I'm not saying I want you to be like him.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is I want you to, sometimes the conversation isn't, I had this conversation with myself. Sometimes the conversation isn't, how can I get better? Sometimes you got to stop having that conversation with yourself. Sometimes the conversation that you need to have is, I got everything I need. I'm good enough. Sometimes you do got to get better. Sometimes you just got to stop telling yourself that. If you tell yourself that every single solitary day, day in, day out, for years and years and years and years, for years, you're in the first part of the Rocky movie. When are you going to run up them stairs and be like,
Yeah.
I did it. When you gonna do it?
Mm.
I had this conversation with myself. I'll tell you that I had this conversation with myself. I realized you're tripping, and then I had a conversation with my girlfriend, and I recalled that. So I was telling her that I had a conversation with myself about how I realized, because in my book, The Anti-Hustle, I have a manifestation technique. It is a very powerful, y'all. If you don't have a copy of the book, I'll post the link down below. It is a very powerful manifestation technique. I mean it. It's based in biblical principles. So I do it once a quarter, every 6 months, okay? And when I did it, there is a prompt where you list out all the things that you don't have, or like you list out everything you want to be, everything, all your desires. Then you list out all the things that are keeping you from it. Then you have to decide whether these individual things are real or perceived.
Mm.
And then after that, you have to decide how you're going to step out of the systems. That it's some things in between, but step out of the systems. And so as I'm looking at the shortcomings, the things that I don't have, that's keeping me from my goals, I realized it was all like, you're not this enough, you're not that enough, you don't have enough this, you don't have enough that, you're not it was just like so many not enoughs. And I just was like, as I'm writing, I'm like, I'm tired of feeling like this.
Mm.
And then I said to my girlfriend, I said, one of them was, you're not disciplined enough. And she said, what? You're literally one of the most disciplined people that I know. And then I had to say, Nicole, I get up at 3:30 at least 4 days a week and get a half a day's work before most of y'all wake up. I go to the gym 4 times a week, every single week. I run 4 miles twice a week on 8 miles per hour straight, twice a week. I don't eat carbs. Except on Sundays when I want a pancake or a cookie. And I'm fine. I'm not even miserable. I call my mama every day. I didn't call her on Saturday or Sunday because my son he goes and stays at his aunt's house a couple times every once in a blue. Mm-hmm. I didn't call my mom because I just ain't feel like talking to nobody. Called her this morning like, I miss you. How many people you don't call their mom every day? Why would I have on a piece of paper that I'm not disciplined enough? That don't even make no sense. When are you going to say, this is enough? Big goals, here we come. You don't need this nonsense. When are you going to say it?
The Rocky theme song started playing, huh? Dun, 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 dun. All right.
I wish I could play it without getting flagged. They demonetized the crap out of me.
Yeah, definitely gonna get flagged.
I'm gonna hum the tune as a voiceover. So I was like, dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. I like that song better. Rising up, back on the streets. Do our time, take our chances.
Singing was not one of the blessings, but we got it.
That's not enough. I'm not enough a good singer that can stay in there.
But no, yeah, definitely.
Guess what? Donald Trump every day with his chubby non-hair, hunched over behind, look in the mirror and be like, I am enough. Every day. If he can say he enough, he is crusty. He got a vocabulary of 23 words. He get in the mirror and be like, I'm enough. Every day.
He is the sugar honey iced tea. That's what he says to himself.
Every day. You ain't got to be the sugar honey iced tea. You just got to be enough. You've trained enough. You're ready. Let's go. Rising up, back on the street. Do our time, take our chances. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rivals. And the last no survivor stalks his prey in the night as he watches it all through the eye of the tiger. I usually give specific strategies.
I think you did though.
You feel like I usually give strategies and then I give plays. So if y'all want plays, you
definitely gave strategies.
Start a private equity fund. I keep saying this, or invest in my private equity fund. You got to figure out how to pull your money to invest in things that directly impact you in your community and the things that you want to see happen. I love that y'all pull your money into the public markets, but a lot of that stuff is not initiatives that help you.
You know what a friend of mine told me the other day when I talked to him? A lot of believers, right, who believe in what we believe in it, like to not take accountability. And when I say that, I was telling him, I'm like, yo, I woke up late for this and I woke up late for this 2 days in a row. Like I didn't switch none of my schedule. You know what I'm saying? I woke up at 8 o'clock. I said, normally my alarm goes off. And he was like, wait, your alarm went off? I said, yeah. He's like, well, what happened? I was like, well, I hit the snooze button. I said, but I do that every day. And then he said, he looked at me, because I was just like, yeah, I think the enemy attacking me, bro. Like, I think, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm under attack by the enemy. And after I said I hit the snooze button, he said, wait, you woke up, you hit the snooze button? I said, yeah. He said, that ain't no enemy. That ain't the enemy attacking you. And then I just had to look at him because I'm like, what you talking about? But then it just made so much sense as far as we don't take accountability for, one, some of the things God has already told us, because his word is sovereign. So what he say is what he say. So then, you know, we go and do something outside of how it's supposed to be. You know, you've been had the idea to start this, or been had the person in your corner who had the capital to invest in this, and you didn't take advantage of it. That ain't the enemy. That ain't somebody in your way. That's you hitting the snooze button.
That's a really, really, really super good point. I want you to also think about, out of all the scriptures in the Bible, stories in the Bible, how many times did the enemy, either Satan, Leviathan, Lucifer, whatever you want, the serpent, how many times did he actually show up? Not that many.
Not a lot. Yeah.
He's not in there that much.
Mm-mm.
Not even a little bit.
Yep. Stop hitting that snooze button.
Stop hitting the snooze button. Stop messing around with Uriah's wife, David. All right, y'all.